All righty then, here we are. It's not the 5 minute focus, but it is the successful indie author with his partner in crime for this effort, Audrey Huey. How are you doing, Audrey?
Pretty good. I am so happy to be here and happy to be talking about our beautiful author's legacy right back here.
What what did you like about this project? You spoke about it earlier. I pimped you on Facebook, and you had a great response, and it was better than mine. So, what attracted you to this project?
Well, it's something I've been thinking about for a long time, and especially as we see people, that we love and people in the writing community passing away, we're like, okay, well, what happens, with their work? And in the beginning of my big yearly planner, I have a quote from Adrienne Dunning, who sadly, it gives me chills, but we loved her very much. She was part of my other author community, and she had passed away the night she finished a story for one of our anthologies. And she said, "It's finished. I'll send it to you in the morning." And then there was something tragic happened, and we thought, "Oh my gosh, well, what about all this work she put her heart and her soul into? This stuff was really important to her." And her family just didn't know what to do with it. You know what I mean? They didn't want to, in the midst of their grief, have to figure that out. So of course we shelved that project because it felt wrong to go forward without her. And then actually this year, one of my dear friends right here, who I've been writing with for like 10 years, passed away. And it's been thankfully her husband is also a writer and knows a little bit, but he kept saying, "Well, I don't know where she wanted to go with this project. I don't know what to do with this part." And thankfully he has her writer community to help him, move forward how he wishes. But it's still one of those questions where I wanted to always have these different things, all these assets I've purchased. What would happen to all my cover hoard, my pre-made cover hoard, if something happened to me? I would not want that beautiful art that was created to be lost forever. You know what I mean? I would want someone else to enjoy it, or all these unfinished, or not unfinished necessarily, unpublished manuscripts that I have that are waiting for editing. What happens to those? So
Yep.
when you reached out to me and you wanted to do this project with me, I was just so over the moon. I was jumping off the wall, bouncing off the walls. I was just so ecstatic. I couldn't wait to tell my family. And I was like, yes, let's go. This is so important. It's so important to think that my stories will get to live on after me, like Louis L'Amour's do,
And
after
and
him.
this is the thing. My father passed away this year. My mother passed away last year, and I got to experience firsthand all of the trials and tribulations with an estate directly. And this is an estate that my dad owed nobody any money. He owned all of his stuff outright, and it was fairly easy to go through. However, what if he had a book? What if I? And I've had some health scares in recent years with a bad heart and bad lungs, and the stuff. My estate is in massive disarray, especially my intellectual property.
Mhm.
I know where everything is. I know what I'm doing. Nobody else. Nobody else does.
Yeah.
So that's what this thing. That's where this thing kicked off. Once I saw my dad, who had his ducks mostly in a row, and it was easy. But me, not so much. I needed a tool, and this is the backbone of that tool, and author's legacy, because intellectual property is significant. This tome is 195 pages. However, I selfishly geared it towards me. So I'm like, Audrey, you need to make more copies of the IP page. So
Yep.
that's why you have 25 separate entries for your books or series, because I currently have 25 series. So that's for me that I have that many. I have a lot of co-authors. So you'll see a lot of entries for co-authors, their contact information. Do you know how much you're supposed to pay them? What is the royalty share? I publish for a lot of other people. So this will help somebody at my level, a mid-list publisher author, and anybody just starting out. Oh my God, anybody who doesn't publish other people, still everything is here that you need. And without further ado, thank you, Shakespeare, for that word. let's take this route, and we're going to make this a cool presentation where you don't even have to look at us. Let me do it this way. An author's legacy. Let's go through this. All right. One of the most important things that you need to do is you need to identify you. So the first section to fill in your planner is your identifying data. Who owns this document? And this document is not a legal document. However, your executor can take this in to his probate lawyer. And I always recommend, as a lawyer, I recommend get a lawyer. The probate lawyer will make your life so much easier in helping you manage and navigate probate. And probate is not a bad word. It is simply a legal process. If you own a car and you have it titled just in your name, only a judge can grant that authority to someone else to sell your car for you, to buy your car. You have to have that legal authority, and that's what probate does. That's all it does. So if you have a checking account in your name, imagine how horrible the world would be if anybody could dive in there and access your checking account. It's a judge. A judge has to do that. So probate, you have to identify who you are so there is no doubt that you own the information in this book, that you own everything you're saying you own. So you do that. Next, death certificate. Okay, you don't have to fill this out. There you go. How about that? But you do have to fill out the insurance policies if you have those. And keep in mind, with your mortgage on your house, you may have an insurance policy that pays off the mortgage if you pass away. That's good for your heirs. It's not good for you that you don't get to live in your house anymore, but it's good for your heirs because the house. But so you put that policy number in here. Death certificate. That's your executor will put that in there, and then you'll fill this out. This is easy. You fill it out, and there's enough spaces. So if you let one policy lapse, you put a line through it and put a new policy. Or if you only have one or two, so be it. It's okay. It's just to keep track. It's to make the life easier on your executor. That's the whole purpose of this. All right, cancellations. What if you got vacations lined up? If you have other things, events, especially you go every year to an event that Craig Martell runs because he's the coolest guy ever running shows. And so you list those out here. So if you're going to a future one, hey, that's money in the bank for your heirs and beneficiaries. Otherwise, you're contributing to the bottom line of airlines, of hotels, of places that they're going to fill that room anyway. They'll take your money and they'll take somebody else's money too. Do you really want to do that? Or would you rather all of that money get funneled back into your estate to be then distributed to your heirs? So events give your executor a chance to succeed and cancel your plane tickets, your events. So there's the events and dates. You can roll through. Okay, I didn't die this year. Great. Cross them out. Next year, you roll in right in the next ones. Just make it easy. And that also makes it easy on you now while you're alive because you've got your schedule and stuff set up. And this is only the quick part. There's still a lot more to it when it comes to this stuff. Oh, flights, hotels, car rentals, your vision. This is after you get to this part. This part is all about what do you intend for your business. I wrote this in there for me. There's a big market for my books that I've only scratched the surface of. You won't have to write any more books with my name on them. Like, you see all the new books coming out from Michael Crichton? Hell, he died like 20 years ago. How are those coming out? They weren't hidden anywhere. So what are they doing? They're publishing with his name, Michael Crichton, and he is the marketing place. But he's not writing those books. So you don't need to write any more books for me. I've written plenty. So I'm not sure which book of mine I'd consider my magnum opus. I have lots of great titles. So I'm having a conversation with my executor and that they can review after I'm gone. I'll continue to write until my best book heals itself through viral sales. Run the first book in a series on sale for free or 99 cents twice a month. I have plenty of series that will keep sales juiced into the foreseeable future. My strategy with those is to use paid newsletters, 250 for each title that has a solid foundation. Science fiction, thrillers, leadership, children's titles, there's something for everyone, and most have multiple formats. Get creative, go to shows. There's a lot more money to be made without having to write another book. So I'm trying to juice my executor, juice my heirs and beneficiaries, and make them feel good about, hey, you've just been handed $1 million estate. It could be $100 estate if you do nothing with it. And that's what happens to people's books when nobody is pushing them. If they're just there, here's some general guidance of what I do and what my executor, literary executor, or future heirs and beneficiaries can do to keep it going. I've got nearly 200 books, for Pete's sake. So there's absolutely no reason to not be making $100,000 a year to feed a trust that will then pay out to my heirs, my beneficiaries, the people I'm trying to take care of. So your top 3 goals and milestones to achieve. What are you trying to achieve? I didn't fill anything in here. Milestone, step to achievement. Every goal you have, you're going to have milestones. You're going to have inch stones. You don't need to put the inch stones in here, but you need to have the inch stones somewhere because you've got to take those steps to get where you want to go. You can't just say, I have a goal to sell 1 million books and then not do anything except hope. Hope is a lousy plan. Wishing doesn't quite work. There's no genies in bottles here ready to make your wishes come true. You have to make things happen. And that's what milestones and inch stones are all about. And deadlines, well, then that takes it from hope to a plan. Oh boy, I hope I sell 100 books this month. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to a show. I'm going to run up some Amazon ads. I'm going to send out my newsletter. So there you go. Now you have a plan as opposed to wish and hope. All right. That was all the setup. That was all what I might call precatory language in the legal world, which is the background information, you having a conversation with your heirs and beneficiaries, and not necessarily legally binding. And nothing in here is legally binding except your will, if you put it in here and you get it witnessed. I would even have it self-attesting, get it notarized, that the witness signatures notarize them. And then you have a will. A will, you might have a codicil, but that's where I recommend you go to an estate lawyer and get everything set up properly, get your trust set up properly, because that's what it takes, whatever state you're in. So this whole workbook is about helping you ask better questions of your estate lawyer and getting that put into your will. It's generally a small fee, and you win if you use the lawyer, because then you'll get what you want as opposed to thinking you'll get what you want. You're not going to be here to fix anything, so it has to be done before you go. What you find in this workbook is a lot of explanations, what passes within your estate and what passes outside of it. What passes outside of it will get transferred quicker. It took us 4 months to get the payout from my father's. He had some transfer on death investments, and it took us 4 months to get that money from Wells Fargo's ugly grip. But that's what it takes. Get an estate lawyer, get your probate lawyer, and go do battle and fill out their forms again and again, talk to them on the phone, and stay engaged. So what does that look like? We've got an explanation here. So it'll help you understand what you're filling in. Trust. I am a huge fan of trusts, because this is where you'd like your beneficiaries to be responsible and your heirs, but they're not all that way. So trusts set it up so you can have a say even after you're gone. The trust is, I dispense 30% of all of my monthly earnings to X and 70% to Y, because Y will use it responsibly and ultimately take care of X at some point in time because they're irresponsible with their money. You can set up trust however you want. And this is where, go through this workbook, write down the questions, go to an estate lawyer, get it all set up very, very well with your will and set up a trust. Do you want a testamentary trust? That's one that is established after you pass away. Do you want a revocable trust that you can establish right now, a living trust? Do you want an irrevocable trust? An irrevocable trust, you can write that off in your taxes for however much money you populate it with. So if you put $100,000 in your irrevocable trust, hey, you can write that off your taxes if you need that write-off. because that's almost like an investment in the future. Now, and that trust, you can have that money in CDs, you can have that money in growth funds, you can do whatever you want. Just set it up. But the irrevocable, you don't have any say what happens after that money goes in there. You have to set it up before, invest the money this way, tell the trust manager, and then you turn it loose and just keep putting money in there. A revocable, that's you can put money in, but you can adjust how it's used there, and you can change the dictates of that trust. So somebody falls out of favor, your nephew gives you a bunch of grief, gives you the finger, drives into your car, steals your dog. Yeah, I'm not leaving him anything, because heaven forbid somebody steal my dog. You're getting nothing, and you're going to like it. So revocable trust, you can fix that. You can remove your evil nephew from your will. He's not an heir beneficiary, but trust. Only lawyers can set them up. You can't contact your investment firm. You can't contact a bank. You have to go through a lawyer, because you need that legal document to then go to the bank and say, I'm going to put money into this account established by this trust, and then they'll open an account in the name of that trust. So that's how you have to do it. I recommend that for everybody if you're in a position to make those kind of decisions to help yourself. Your will. This is the guiding document. Everyone needs a will, because everyone has an estate. You think, well, I don't have an estate. I just owe people. Well, then guess what happens? Everybody who's related is going to get tagged to pay that debt. And it could get really ugly. It depends what the probate judge determines. So do you want that debt hanging over your family name? Do you want pain and anguish? What about a car? If you have a car only in your name, well, I don't have an estate, I owe money on it. Yeah, but it's in your name. Only a judge can legally authorize its sale, because it's only in your name, and now you can't sign that document. So your will is so important. And I added a note on the side there yesterday. Make sure it says you revoke your previous wills and codicils. Otherwise, a probate judge may be obligated to include information from previous wills if additional, as opposed to replaced. And it's not so easy, because then it can be challenged in court if one of your heirs says got cut out, and all of a sudden they think that, hey, I shouldn't have been cut out. This will was made under duress. It's not valid. What a pain. Revoke prior wills and codicils. And then there's some elements there to make sure these elements are within your will. I'm not going to go through them, because you can read them on your own author's legacy planner / workbook. That's why I put that stuff in there, so you can ask smarter questions. All right, where are we? Let me go here. All right. Since we're talking about our estate, what is your property? Do you have that means real estate? Do you have other things that you own? And we have a massive section here so you can put this stuff in. Do you rent properties out? Do you own them to rent out? And what information you need there? All of it, so your executive can wrangle your estate. Your executor, is the person who has to consolidate your estate after you pass away, has to account for all of your assets. Imagine if they were all in a single book. That's what it's all about. Your executor can look through and say, oh, geez, I didn't know they had a Rolex watch that's real. I've never seen it. Oh, yeah, because I didn't like it. It's big and heavy, and it's in the thing. But it might be worth a few $1,000s. All of it goes to your estate. So document it. Put it in there. Pet care. Some people leave this blank because they go through the pets pass away. They go adopt senior dogs. More power to you if you do that. You adopt a senior dog every couple of years and let them live out the final years of their lives in comfort and with human companionship, and get fed steak and all kinds of good things. But so you go through them, and there's a lot of dogs. However, you can put that in here. Whatever dog I have at the time, please use 10% of my estate to take care of them. Put them here, give a laundry list of people who might take your dog, that kind of stuff. You can put that in here. Take care of your pets. Executor duties. So this is a note that you can dog ear and tag for your executor. So they can go there and say, here's what I need to do. So they know. Your executor should not be surprised that you've listed them as an executor, because that is a veritable buttload of work. And a buttload, as we know, is like 53 gallons. So it's a large amount of work. So they'll take it on for you, and they have to notify people. They have to pay debts and taxes and consolidate stuff and lock up a house that everybody has a key to. Maybe they have to change the locks because they have to consolidate, and people can't just go in there and take stuff. Because if you've got 5 kids and you pass away, your kids all have access to the house. Are they going to help themselves to mom's jewelry? Are they going to go take something? Hey, mom's violin that's been passed down in the family and might be worth some money, and they start taking stuff. If that stuff's all accounted for, they can't do that, because once you pass away, they can't do that. It has to be accounted for. Now, in this document, you can list violin goes to Billy Joe Jim Bob, the violin player. Then so be it. You can put that in here. It's legally binding. If the probate judge says, yes, here's a very nice list of stuff, you have 90% of it, it's all designated, we will include that as part of the direction that the probate judge gives. So that stuff, even if you don't have it in your will, it's probably best to have it in your will, but the stuff you have, some of it enters your life, some of it exits your life. This document's probably a little bit better, and you can include it. Your executor can take this with her to the judge and get that stuff included, so they can legally hand this stuff out. Hey, here's this violin. Oh my God, it's worth $10,000. Doesn't matter. The other people can't contest it if the judge said it goes to this person, because that was the desire. The judge is supposed to fulfill the desires of the decedent. That's you after you pass away. So by having it written down, they can do that. They can do what you need them to do. Accounts to consolidate. Of course, you want your bank accounts. Of course, you want your credit cards. Of course, you want. This is my brother's wife passed away, and she had gotten a lot of credit cards, like bank credit cards, that she would use one time to get a discount and then forget about them because they don't have annual fees. I think he said he canceled some 30 or 40 credit cards as they popped up because he saw them in her wallet, and he's like, "Oh my God, what are these?" This company Yonkers doesn't even exist anymore. But those credit cards are all valid, and had to go remove them and cancel them, and that was a week of phone calls. Make it easier on your executor. Debts. We all have debts of some sort. Not my dad. He had 0. He didn't have a single debt. That was cool. So lender account, PINs, passwords, so you log in. Payment due date is important, because if you pass away on the 14th and the 15th, a bunch of money is going to go out of your account. You better have that money in your account to pay those bills, and you better be able to legally pay those bills. Because if you freeze your account, because some may do that, or you have a transfer on death name on that account, and they immediately take all the money that's in there, now you're in default, and now somebody's going to be looking to snag your house because you didn't make your mortgage payment, because you died, and somebody took all your money because transfer on death. They were signatories on that account. So this is a document that the executor needs to have right away and be able to manage the estate, so you aren't getting liens against your property after the person passed away. Can you imagine that? How much fun would that be for your executor? Expenses. It's important that your executor knows what's coming up. And as an author, I know that stuff pop up, and I'm like, what the hell is this? There's some annual renewal that I signed up with a credit card that was still good, and I keep getting it. So I've got multiple editing software: Grammarly, AutoCrit, ProWriting Aid, because I got the yearly plan with auto renewal, and they keep popping up. I'm like, what? I don't even use these anymore. So yeah. It's nice if you have all of that, because your executors are going to have to go through and cancel what's not being used by your estate. If you have a literary executor and a trust set up, that person will have to dive in and may want to keep BookFunnel because you've got so much stuff uploaded there for free or for paid. So do you want to do that? Your Etsy account, your Lulu account, your Amazon account. Now, there's differences with other distributors, but expenses, your executor needs to know where that stuff is and cancel everything that's not going to be used while having an intelligent conversation about the stuff that is going to be used. All right, codicils. There's an example of one for a literary executor. I don't know why I did this one. I think there's a simple will in there as well that I put in that you could use as a template, but that's just to ask better questions of your estate lawyer when you go have your will drafted and put together. Here you go. This one sets up a literary executor as part of your estate. So your executor will contact the literary executor and say, hey, here you go. Here's access to the accounts, and here's what happens to the money. And they collaborate, and you keep your heirs pumped with cash because you have such a great backlist. Now, how do you know what the author was thinking? A one-page business plan. I used to be a leadership coach and business coaching executive. So you need to know what you're doing with your business. And this is, well, author, I'm writing books about Faye, and I'm writing these. Yeah, okay. Business. This is your business. Are you a sole proprietorship? Are you an LLC? Are you a C Corp? Are you an S Corp? What is your business structure and why? Why did you do it this way? And what are you trying to accomplish with your business? Are you trying to grow it? Are you trying to dominate a section of the market? Are you trying to your market share? What are you doing? That's the important stuff here. And you put it in there. One-page business plan. You can put it in there. The reason it's small is because you don't want to go so far that you get into the minutia. This is the overarching view of your business. And you've got to be able to articulate it this way, because otherwise you're not really sure what you're doing. Know what you're doing with your business. You'd like to think you know what you're doing, but you need to be able to define it in a single sentence and keep it at that level, because then when you start running up against roadblocks or multiple choices, you can go back to your guiding light of what you're trying to accomplish and say, it's easy because it fits under this umbrella. It doesn't fit under this umbrella. I need to stay true to my business plan. Now, what do you do day to day? And why is this important? The author's daily work routine. We put this in because I thought it was important to look at why you do what you do, how you're doing what you're doing. That is part of your business. So you got your business plan, but then your daily work. So a literary executor can look at this and say, oh, geez, the author only spent an hour a day working on a new book, but 7 hours a day on this other stuff. So what is a literary executor going to commit to? Well, they're not going to have the writing unless you have a co-author who's willing to pick up the series and run it to its natural conclusion. I have written for 3 different authors who have passed away. I have completed their series. So you need to think about that. Are you going to have somebody finish a series, and where is it going? And there's a place to put that. Future works in progress, because Audrey did a great job setting that one up to make sure that people knew what you were doing and where you're going. And you just cross them out when they're done. There's enough there that, hey, cross it out, move on. It's a nice rolling list of stuff you did and stuff you're doing. So here you go. Author's daily work routine. And also the reason it's in here is to help you manage your business now. Because, hey, why not? Manage it now and you'll be better off later. Make more money now for you to enjoy before you hand it over to your heirs and beneficiaries. And dare I say, undeserving heirs and beneficiaries. Only the deserving ones get to benefit from your estate, right? That's what we want to believe. Now, this is Authordom 101. Intellectual property. What does that mean? Well, we put a definition in here, put the Copyright Office's definition of what a copyright is, and also put a link to just, hey, copyright.gov to look at, here's what this means. One thing I would caution people, don't ever sell your copyright. Always license them. Because if you sell your copyright, you lose all control. license the copyrights, because then your heirs will get the copyright. All right, where are we here? Now, 25 page, and these are facing pages. So let me, let's go here. Yeah. Facing pages. So you can do a book or a series while looking at it. It's on 2 pages. You don't have to flip back and forth. That's one book, one series. Maybe some of the slots are a little small if you have long links, but there you go. Everything you need to know is right there. Sorry, Audrey. Going to say goodbye to you again. There we go. All right. All right. And me too. We're off because book information, everything you need to know. Did you have a professional cover done? Did you have it edited? Did you have typography? And the reason it's like this is because that's how I do it. I have the covers done, but I have a separate typographer, because the cover art, the artist who does the cover art may not be the best judge of what the wording needs to look like or be on the cover. Sometimes they are. A lot of times I get covers with the wording. It's all great. But there's a lot of times where I get great artwork. That's great covers, but then I get the typography elsewhere. So just in case, editing, ISBNs, because you can have multiple ISBNs based on what you publish. If you want an ebook ISBN, you want a paperback, you want a cover, a hardcover, do you want an audiobook ISBN? Do you want a live streaming ISBN for an audiobook? Yes, I needed that for my for the books I posted on YouTube. So all of that translation. What about multiple translations? I've got one book series that's in German right now, but it's going to be in Dutch and French in the next year. So all kinds of good stuff there. And who's doing that? And what's it mean? You can put that in there, and then you can document where your contracts are for these people, because it's important to have the contract for in case there's any dispute. Hey, you owe me money when people are making demands of your executor. Hey, you owe me money. Really? Let me see the contract. Let's see where we are. Let's pull up the information on the earnings and see if that's the case. And if we do, we will get it to you, because it's not your desire to rip off the people you work with. I hope not. But your executor cannot send them money unless he, she, they, it have documentation to send, documentation to support sending that money out of your estate. So what about all of the other distributors? So the books, all of that is there. Yeah, audiobook channel. This is the crux of the book. I think we have 25, so about 50 pages worth of stuff for books. Audiobook channel. And if you're cheap, buy the author's legacy, buy it, and don't take screenshots of these and say, oh, is this going to be good enough? I'll be able to fill it. Don't do that. Don't be a wiener. I mean, we invest a lot of time and effort on putting this together, and the explanations alone are worth the price of admission, although you're paying for a 195-page planner, both in either spiral bound or perfect bound. That's Audrey was showing you a spiral bound version. I was showing the perfect bound version, which is a paperback from Amazon. Spiral bound is from Lulu. Lulu, it's $25.99, but then it's plus tax and shipping. Amazon is $29.99, and if you're Prime, no shipping, but you will pay tax. So there you go. Bob's your uncle, living the dream. Buy the planner, because inside the planner also there is a link to a prettified Google sheet. So all of this information is available on a Google sheet that you can copy to your own Google account and then fill it in there. Because a lot of it you'll find, hey, it's easier to copy paste an obscene link to a login on a variety of different services that you use. So you could do that, and that is the way to go. But don't ever share that. You only get it if you buy the book, and please don't share it, because then you're stealing our intellectual property, and authors shouldn't do that to other authors. So copy it down for your personal use and use the hell out of it, and make sure that you make life a whole lot easier for your executor. Also, make sure your executor has access to it, and access to that spreadsheet. Filling it out doesn't help anybody if they can't get to it. So all of that is very, very important information for Think about your executor. If you do this, keeping the executor in mind, then you're going to fill it out the right way that will help them be easier. If you pass away, it's not going to be easy for any people who care about you, but you can make it easier. You don't have to make it hard, and you don't have to make it monumentally hard where you don't take care of anybody because they can't access your stuff, and all of a sudden all your sales just trickle down to nothing, which will happen. It absolutely will happen no matter how big you are now. Author accounts. This kind of cool stuff. What about your computer login? Holy cow. Yeah, I've got facial recognition on the one, but I also have a PIN password that you can use to bypass. Good stuff. Tablet, smartphone, physical storage device. I have a 4 terabyte backup drive that has its own password, and I don't always remember it. So I wrote it down. There you go. Everything you need. What software do you need to read your book files? One of the authors who passed away, he did everything in Scrivener. Guess what I don't have? Scrivener. So I had to, I was able to get a mirror of his hard drive and go through it, and Scrivener exports in a way that there are docs there, but it's by chapter, and it was horrendously painful to break this stuff out so I could create new original files rather than getting Scrivener and trying to do it that way. And I had people who had Scrivener, and still the way the files were organized, it didn't work for them. They weren't able to put the files together. So what software do you need? Because that can be purchased out of your estate. So your literary executor, your executor can access those files to make any changes and upload those, or publish them someplace else. You want to go wide, you need new files. You need those files. So it's important. It's important that you have this information as well. Author accounts, websites. Almost every author has a website of some sort. Website, domain, newsletter links, services. I only put 2 in here, but you may have more. That's okay. Write them in the margins. Make sure you put your newsletter sites, because you might use MailerLite. You might use a plugin on your own domain. You may use MailChimp. You may use something else that's new. It's okay. Just make sure you document it. Antivirus security programs. Boy, those will ruin your day if you don't have them right, because you try to log in and your antivirus locks out your computer after 3 days. And because you didn't have your phone properly documented, that got locked out too. And now you can't do the 2-factor authentication, and everything you have worked for in your life is now at the whim of whoever has it. Don't do that. Is this portion of the book available? Of course, but only if you buy the book and get the link for the author's legacy. That's a Google sheet. And that has, that has like 15 tabs. All of it is, every fill-in part is in the Google sheet, but please don't share that, because that is pretty much the whole book. If people started sharing that out in the open, there'd be no need to buy the book except to get the explanations, which you really should get. So please, please, please buy the book, and then you get the Google sheet that's included, and copy paste. There you go. Bob's your uncle, living the dream. It all works. Author services. We all use author services of some sort, whether it's BookFunnel, which I highly encourage people to use, or Story Origin, or Atticus, Scrivener. There's a billion different services that authors can use. Document them so your executor, because when one of my friends passed away, his wife would contact me about once a month saying, hey, does John need this? And that was about all these services, because he'd done the same thing, bought them for a year and had annual renewal. And no, he doesn't need that. No, he doesn't need Canva, because he's not going to be making any more graphics. No, he doesn't. And there you go. But while you're using them, you can also use this section to describe your daily business. And this is about helping you now and later. So an author's legacy, you're establishing your legacy right now. Manage your business. This helps you manage your business better too, because you can look through, and especially once you fill out the spreadsheet version, you can sort what's paid monthly, what's paid annually. Oh, I've got bills coming up in March and June and in August, and you can see that's cool, because that goes to cash flow. See, every conversation I have about business always ends with cash flow because cash flow is king. So there you go. But you got to buy the book. And then you have your spreadsheet, especially once you get your expenses set up. And it doesn't get any better than that because then you can see, you sort it by date of when they're due. Like, there you go. This is also available on Amazon, of course. And Author's Legacy, just search for it. Author's Legacy Huey or Author's Legacy Martell, and it'll pop up. It's only available in paperback, so that's how you get it. Because it's not, it's a fill in the blank. It would not work as an ebook. Important people. One of your executor's duties is contact those people you need to contact who can come to your funeral. Let me go back. Things are growing crazy here. Whoa, stop. All right, important people. So there's a list of important people to your business, like your executive assistant, like your maybe you've got a graphics person, maybe you've got a YouTube person, whatever it might be. Important people. Family, they can go in here too. Hey, you've got to contact this aunt who will then contact these other people. Great. All different ways to have important people listed. Just a way to contact them either by email, phone, whatever it might be. So if you're an executor and you're a raging introvert and you can't use the phone, well, then don't be the executor because you're going to have to use the phone a lot to settle an estate. You got to call people and tell them, hey, Uncle Bob passed away, so you can't say Bob's your uncle anymore. It doesn't work because he's gone. So that's it. There you go. Important people. What if you have no heirs? I'm just going to let it go. Really? Are you sure? You can help a charity of your choice. Motorcycles of America, a certified 501c3. Just contact them if you want to support Motorcycles of America for the rest of your life and the rest of your existence until your copyrights change. Hey, it's your business. Why not designate someone? Do something good because you're writing books that people like because you've got a legacy. Even if only 100 people buy each book, so what? Maybe there's a lot more readers out there and you're just not finding them. But somebody else could say, oh man, we need to share this with all of the motorcycle riders and we will sell 1 billion copies of this stuff. Great. Do that, but let them benefit. So if you have no heirs, there's a section on that and what to do and some various questions to ask and how to do that. Here's your works in progress. This is where you cross them out as you finish them and you keep your new ones, you keep it fresh. So your heir, your executor can look and say, I'm missing this. It says this one was started 2 months ago and Craig always wrote fast. So that book might be finished. So I need to look for that on his hard drive. I pull it up. Oh, here's access to the computer. There we go. Dig it through. There it is. Life is good. What about overseas rules? We had a lot of questions. Will this apply to the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland? Yes, mostly because accounting for your estate is 90% of the battle in every single country. How it gets taxed and stuff, that changes by country. But the best thing you can do is we put links in there for how do you craft a will in the UK? What about New Zealand? What about Australia? What about Canada? All of those. Here's what you do. You go to those sites. Those are the best examples I could find of how to fill out a will in those countries. And so I put them in there. Put in a quickie link. And there's no affiliates on these links. I mean, I just shortened them so they're much, much easier to type because this is a physical planner. I don't want you hassling with trying to type in this long mix of numbers and letters and capitals and small letters. No. I did the link shortener just for your ease. It does nothing for me. It actually just cost me money because I have a book linker, and each one of those, if you click on that link, it costs. If you use that link, it costs me. But that's okay. It's easy for your purposes. And then you'll see at the bottom there, use this space to record any further questions you may have for a legal representative. That's the person you need to go have you draft your will. No matter what country you're in, it's important that you go to a professional to draft your will. But you take this document, you've got all the questions. I'm not sure exactly how trusts work in other countries throughout the world, but I'm sure there are trusts. That's, again, ask the estate lawyer how to do that, and they will turn you on to, because there may be a different trust professional that you have to go to get that drafted, and that's okay. You're taking care of your estate. You're building your legacy. For in the United States, you have copyright for 70 years after your death. Think 70 years that your heirs and beneficiaries can benefit from your genius, from your storytelling, from your desire to not live in this world, because you disappear into your own world and you wrote stories about it. And you can help benefit your heirs for however long it takes. So overseas rules, there you go. Links to go to various places. The best examples I could find for wills in the UK, New Zealand, Australia. In the US, wills change by state. I don't know if that's the case in Australia. You guys have what, like 9 states and territories? Canada has a few states and territories. I don't know if it's different in each one. If it is, then you got to find one that's appropriate for your state. But accounting for your estate, that is universal. No matter where you are, you will have to do that. And you can do it here and keep your beneficiaries paid for however long they can help keep your book sales juiced. I think that's it. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Quick run through the author's legacy. We tried to make it all encompassing. So if a section doesn't apply, don't worry about it. If you have one book out, don't look at the 24 sets of blank pages saying, oh my God, I'm an underachiever. You're not. You wrote a book. That already puts you in the top 1% of everybody who said they wanted to write a book. Put it in there and put in all your other stuff too. Now start managing your business as a business and write that next book. Put it in there. Whip, here's what I'm working on. And then cross it out when it's done. There we go. Of course, I'm on brand. Yeah, where's my Craig Martell shirt? It's on the chair. I suck. This is just what I happen to be wearing because I had to rush out and get coffee before coming online. All right, I've talked enough. Please, do you have any questions? Come on, people. Come on, people. We've got like 35 people. Will I be able to catch up? Absolutely. This is recorded. Just wait until we're done. You'll be able to click the link and then rewatch it on YouTube at any point in time. And we tried to keep it was a quick 45 minutes, I think. So 47:31 right now. We tried to run through it fast because, hey, we don't want to quagmire you. It's get the book. A lot of it's self-explanatory. The explanations are in there for the sections. And if it doesn't really require an explanation, then the blanks, and those guide you through what to do. One thing I will caution you, do not think you're going to sit down and fill this out in one sitting. This is going to take months. So do a little bit each day, and then you're going to find that all of a sudden, hey, it's okay. Make sure you put the stuff in about managing your business. Use that first, because then you help. Hey, what whips? What's your goal? What's your vision? The Lulu version is spiral bound. You can't miss. Vera, good luck with that. No heirs. You can donate to ASCPA or any place that helps cats. There's absolutely a ton of those places that could use the money that you make and help them, help the little kittens. You need to find a state lawyer. Yep. That's the thing. A trust lawyer to make it happen. All right. Where was I? Oh, managing your business. You can use this to help manage your business. Look at those recurring costs, and you might realize I've got more stuff than I need. And that is the case in almost every author's business, because you're enticed to buy something. Oh, Canva is the way to go. And you get Canva, and then you realize you do something else and like it better. And you forget that you've got Canva ready to reload and charge you afresh 8 months from now. And you just forget about it until that charge pops up. And then, oh, my God. You get on your credit card and say, oh, my God, we got to cancel this charge. Yeah. You don't want to do that. So thank you, people who buy the book today. I think it's https://bit.ly/an author's legacy. All small words, no punctuation. That's for the spiral bound version from Lulu. That's right. If you want the Amazon version, it's geni.us, genius with a dot in there, capital AAL dash KDP. That's an author's legacy KDP version. I went all out on that one. So genius slash AAL dash KDP. That gets you there. How does Amazon KDP work with royalties post death? Alrighty then. If you have an account, Amazon will want to close your account. If you have a death certificate with an executor, they will transfer your works to a new account. Kind of. So this is where you need the basic files. I have nearly 200 books. So if Amazon closed my account, what I would need is a person who is already on my account, who has full access to buy my private stuff on my account, and then it's seamless. But if only you are on your account, guess what? What did I say about probate? The probate judge. Nobody else is supposed to access your Amazon account except you. So if you have it in your name alone, like mine is, I am setting myself up to fail the instant I die, because all of my books are going to be not available because they can't pay somebody because they can't pay a dead person. Unless you have a live person who is a co-owner of that account. Most people do not. And I encourage people not to, because it's you having two people on the account. There's a chance that you could publish something differently on a different account, and you might get your account closed, which isn't good. Which, if you die, it will be closed, but you can publish everything afresh with your executor. You've got the literary executor, you've got all the documentation from probate, but you got to upload those books new. So that's and then you can work with Amazon to fleet over the reviews so it doesn't look like a new author diving in. But that's it. It is a painful process if you do it exactly how Amazon tells you to. Generally, people delay telling Amazon. That's not what they tell us to do, but generally people delay telling Amazon because you're going to get the royalties, but 2 months later, 2 to 3 months later, they're supposed to know that a person has passed away, and that the account, because they're going to be charging for Amazon ads that might be running, and that credit card. Who owns that credit card that's paying the bills? Oh, it's and now you work with Amazon to get them uploaded because the person died. You were probably typing that while I was saying that. So there's what Amazon, and that's what I know about Amazon. I worked with them. I talked to them specifically about this, and they prefer not to do that way, but you got to have somebody on your account. So maybe you could put that in your will, that this person will immediately take over the account. It's paid by this credit card, which is in the owner's name. Or you know what you can do? You can put that stuff in your trust. You can have the trust publish your stuff, and the trust has access to the account, and the trust pays the ad bills, and then it's seamless because all the stuff's going into your trust anyway. So a revocable trust to manage your Amazon author account, especially if you're later in life. If you're 30 years old, I wouldn't recommend doing that. It's just it's a lot of rigmarole, and then your trust might have to file its own taxes. Just depends how it's set up. So if you're getting on in life and things are looking kind of dicey for you, you've grown too fragile, and people keep driving their SUVs into your living room because you live on a sharp corner, you might want to set things up in case the next SUV picks you off while you're trying to watch Ancient Aliens, like you should be when you get old. All right. If I get too technical, stop me. So you initially lose them, but Amazon should transfer them over, unless you put in your will. I'd like to think that you could put in your will that someone will take over the account as it is, but it's a big corporation. We got to play by their rules. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. I've worked with one that they did, and worked with another where they didn't like that. But if you have a co-author, then it depends on if the co-author is the one who published the somebody who passed away. That's irrelevant to Amazon because they pay the publisher. All right. Any other questions that we can answer without getting into legalese? Because this is not legal advice. This is to make you smarter and ask better questions of your estate lawyer, of your trust lawyer, of your friends, of your executor, whoever you're going to hose with taking care of your estate after you pass away, because that's painful, time consuming. Now, the executor can get paid up to 10% of the value of the estate, which is a rule in some states. I think they can get paid in all states for their time, and it could get very, very expensive, especially to them. If your estate is only worth $50,000 after everything's sold and debts paid, that executor can get $5,000. And if it took them 180 hours of time, that may not be a high pay rate, because this is hard stuff. This is hard. So make it easier on your executor. That's what this book is all about. Okay, what do we got there? Let's see. Stop sharing there. So there you go. There you go. If you publish under your own imprint via your own, then the management corporate account can move to the executor. Yeah, yes. No, that's what I was talking about with having the trust or something. If you have a business own that, even though the copyright can be in Rick Shaw's name, but the business is Rick's Righteous Books, and then yes, if that's what it is. So that account, I believe, can move to the executor. Once again, put it in your will very specifically so the probate judge can tell Amazon, this Rick's Righteous Books is responsible for this. Can the literary executor, your literary executor is a total bone job, because now they've got to manage your books. For me, I've got so many damn books that whoever takes over my advertising accounts for those books to put them, it's going to be a significant investment in time. I can do it fairly quickly, but I pay a lot of people to help me. So would my literary executor then keep these same people on board? I would like to think so, because I'll make it easier. However, managing that, so they need to know about the publishing business. If your executor does, great. Also, keep in mind that your executor probably shouldn't be somebody who is going to be so emotionally distraught that they are physically incapable of functioning. A lot of people will select their spouse. Guess who is probably the least capable person of handling your estate? Yes, they know, but they are going to be an absolute emotional wreck. And you want that person, because all this stuff has to happen very, very quickly. You got to contact people. You got to make the funeral arrangements. Oh, you got to make sure that Rick doesn't lose his account on Amazon. You got to make sure that the books keep going out. You got to make sure that this pre-order hasn't been uploaded, and they're torn apart. So executor, yeah, find somebody who will take care of your estate, who isn't going to be completely emotionally destroyed with your passing. Yeah, whatever. We'll drink to them. All right, I'll take the executor duties. Yeah, that's what you got to do. So it's okay if everybody doesn't like you, but then if they don't like you, they aren't going to be so thrilled about consolidating your assets, except saying, "Wow, he has cool stuff." There we go. Let me hide that. So there you go. About time, just under an hour. Thank you very much for joining us. This will be available on YouTube for all posterior's sake. Any final words, Audrey?
I just want to, sum it up that no matter where you're from, I think this is an excellent way to break down how complex and huge this topic can be. It's eating the elephant a bite at a time. And it helps you get all your ducks in a row, get things organized, so that when you do go to a lawyer to get things sorted out for your locality, you actually make their job easier, and hopefully then they like working with you a little better. But then it's easier to make sure that everything is truly there, nothing's missing. This is just getting things organized, getting things all prepared in one space, so you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to get all the things you need to get this paperwork done, to get these very, very important legal documents in order, and ensuring that your vision can live on. So that's one of the things I love the most about this. No matter where you're from, it's a way to get organized about it.
And that Audrey is a soft touch. I'm more like, get your estate in order. Don't screw your executor. Treat the person like a decent human being by giving them stuff that's organized.
Yeah.
And take care of your business now and later. It doesn't get any better than that. And there's nothing else like this on the market. I'm sure somebody will write something soon once they see that, oh my God, they got one. This is really cool. And they'll make it even prettier. Just like, this will do it. This will take care of it.
I'd be offended. We'd have to make a prettier one.
Yep. That's my good. We're going to lay down. Lay down. Stanley, lay down. There's Stanley. Oop. There you see him.
I'm so glad to see all the comments. Yay.
I'm
surprised you let your friends know.
I'm surprised you took this long to join us. All right. Thank you, everybody. We're out. Hang on, Audrey.